Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Carm Capriato, 12 noon East Coast time. You are with the Town Hall Academy, the Aftermarket's original weekly single subject forum. We've been doing this for, let me see, 208 weeks now. 208 weeks. And we've got a great panel and an absolutely incredible topic. Of course, you know, the Automotive Aftermarket podcast guy. And we are live on remarkableresults.biz, the website, on the live page. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn. So if you can't find us, don't worry. We repurpose this next Thursday as a podcast and as a video. Our topic today: stop selling from your wallet. Now, for some of you, you know what that means, and for some of you, you don't. And we have one heck of an absolutely great way that we're going to kind of explain all of this to you. You're coming live from the Remarkable Results Radio Podcast studio. And the show we do on Tuesdays live is now a podcast, Aftermarket Weekly. We actually have a guest host and we do a virtual live shop tour. That one is so much fun to do. But, you know, I love the Town Hall Academy. Love the Town Hall Academy. Hey, let's give a high five out to the great sponsors on the show. You know, now more than ever, you're focused on bringing cars through your bays safely and efficiently. Shopware's shop management system offers a completely contactless workflow for you. Your customers can review, approve, and even pay for the repairs right from their smartphone. Request a demo at getshopware.com. Hey, your customers want you to do what you say you're going to do, and it should be the same with your marketing company. Shopware's Shop Marketing Pros listens, cares, responds quickly, and does what they say they'll do on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Well, guys, I just have so much fun doing this show, and I want to tell anyone who may be out there with us on social media, you got any questions for this panel or comments, we would love to have them. We can see your comments here in the studio, and we're going to actually do a little game here, and we may want you to play along with that game, right, Brian? And Brian, you're on mute, but I know, yes, Carm, no problem. All right. So here's who's with me. Great business coach, Brian Gillis, owner of UNet Results. Thanks, Brian. I saw you do this on another virtual thing, and I said, gotta have it. He's brought with him a couple of great clients. Andy Arndt, owner of Arndt Automotive in Malta, Illinois. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Carm. How you doing?
Good, man. Nice to see you. Keith Knowlton's here from LKS Auto Repair in Bremerton, Washington.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, any rain up there?
Oh, yes.
I knew the answer to that. I knew the answer to that. Well, hey, look at too many times, gang, we think about our own money tolerance, you know, Brian, instead of our own needs. You know, somebody may come up to me at, dinner with our friends and said, hey, I just went out and paid X for something. And I would sit down to myself and say, I'd never pay that for that. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I tell somebody that I paid X for this and they go, you're crazy. You should have shopped more. And so we all, and that's the whole purpose of what the show is about. Again, we're going to be doing this really cool game. And if you're with us out on social media, we'd love to have a like, a comment, check in with your city, share this with your friends, and more importantly, chime in with the with this game that we're going to play. So, Brian, glad to have you here. Welcome, and it's yours.
Thank you, Carm. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so we came up with the game that we do, and the purpose of the game is to kind of open up our eyes a little bit, get these light bulbs to go off, and figure out that at the end of the day, it's really impossible for us to make decisions for the customer, decide if this is a lot for them to spend or have we met this customer's threshold. And so we came up with a game that basically we just have items that we put out there. I'll put out there. Here's our list here of items that we're going to talk about today. And then I'm going to ask of everybody here, what is a lot to spend on these particular items in their opinion? What's their threshold, their kind of line in the sand? And typically when we do these exercises, what we see is the numbers are just all over the place. And so it just serves as a great exercise and a reminder that, hey, everybody's numbers are different. There's no way we can determine what they are, and so this is a great game. It's fun. Every shop owner can play it with their crew, front and back, and involve the team, and everybody kind of goes away after having a little bit of fun with a new understanding that, hey, you know what? That's spot on. We don't know. We have no idea. So fun game. So we can dive right in if you like. And like Carm was saying, if anybody out there wants to throw their numbers out there, type them in, then that'd be great to just kind of see how you stand. So let's get started then. So first one's going to be a gym membership. And so we kind of break it down monthly, and I'll just go around and I'll share my threshold as well. And so Keith, what's a number for you? What's kind of your threshold gym membership?
If you don't recall, Keith, I have it up on the screen for us.
Because I got it here.
I forgot my numbers.
Yeah. So I've got $15 on mine. That would be what I would pay for a monthly gym membership.
All righty.
All right. And then, of course, Andy.
Well, I had to ask my wife because we have a gym membership, but I have no idea what she pays for it. But she said it's $50 a month, so that's my number.
All right. And then for me, it was 30. And just obviously, it's kind of an in the middle number there. But for me, I work out mostly at home, so that's why I wouldn't probably spend too much on a membership.
And I'm impacted by the nines, 39. I don't know why. Everything I see has a 9 at the end, right?
All right. So then the next one that we did was, what's a lot to spend on a pair of dress shoes or boots, right? And originally it was shoes. I changed it to dress shoes just so we could get a little bit closer in our numbers. And so Keith, what was your number?
My number is $250 because I love my feet.
All right. And then Andy?
Mine was $150. I buy a pair of cowboy boots. I wear them for dress for a while, and I turn them into work shoes.
All right. And then mine's $100. I think, maybe I go through them too fast, but that's about what I'll spend.
And I'm at 125. And I don't know where I got that number because I'm a sneakers guy, but that's what I would pay for a really good pair of sneakers, and I'd buy that once a year.
Yeah, definitely. And so then the next topic up is then what would be a lot to spend? What would you consider kind of your threshold on a birthday gift for a good friend? And so Keith?
$40 is what I put down.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Andy?
75 was my number.
All right. And as we can see, I chose $100 for a gift. Mm-hmm.
You have really good friends.
I'll have more, maybe more after this.
I know. I have to. I saw some of your numbers, and I want to go where your tailor is.
Yeah.
$100 for me. Yeah.
All right, right on. And then just to kind of keep it spread out, the next topic we did was a surround sound system. And Keith, what did you have there?
I had $200 on that one.
All right. And then Andy?
I really didn't have a clue, so I went with $1,000, and looks like I was way too high there.
See, that's the thing. There's really no right or wrong answer, and it kind of is what it is. And I know you're a big music fan, so yeah. I mean, if you had to guess, that's what I guess you would spend, huh? And then for me, it was $500. And then Carm.
I $750, and I'm a Bose guy. I've got a Bose system that is way more expensive than any of these numbers, and I just pray the day that it just doesn't die on me and that I would have to go out and replace it. But $750, you can't buy a Bose. Well, you could buy a small Bose for it, but $750.
Yeah. All right, and then so laptop computer, right? And so let's skip it around a little bit. Andy, what'd you come up with on laptop?
And I just bought a laptop yesterday, and I didn't even ask the girl what it was going to cost. I just told her the features, and this is what I want. But I think about $1,500.
Okay, very good, very good. And then Keith, we see your number there. Laptop computer.
$350.
Okay.
I do about $350 because I do a couple a year actually, and so I don't buy the real expensive ones.
Okay. And then for me, my number was $1,200, and that's just really what I just spent not long ago on the laptop I'm on right now. It's just a simple Dell, from Best Buy. And then Carm?
And for me, based on what I do, it's $1,500 is actually on the low side. So, but yeah, that's my number.
All right. And then this one's kind of interesting because when we look at this one, now we got maybe some emotional ties here. And so when that happens in our industry as well. And so the next one was a family pet. And Keith, what was your number?
Well, I guess I'm low again, but Carb's kind of with me there, but I'm
Yeah.
about $150
All right.
for family pet.
All right. And then Andy?
I've got a purebred German Shepherd, so I said 1,500.
Yeah, there you go. I'm doing this exercise in the past. I've got the answers to this as high as $5,000. And, so it's really just everybody's different and we really don't know. For me, it's $1,000 and that's actually what I have spent on a pet. It was my wife loves animals. It's a Maine Coon tabby cat. And so, yeah, actually that's my number.
And I can see that. We're cat people. My wife volunteers. We just recently adopted another cat. It's $100, but we're always writing check to the cat center anyway. So that's why I justify my 100.
All right, right on. And then, so the next one we had was a necktie, right? So Keith, what was your threshold on a new necktie?
I got a threshold of about $20 on a necktie.
All right. And then Andy?
I've never bought a necktie, so I asked my wife, and she said 35.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sometimes we got the husband and wife kind of making those decisions together. For me, it was 125. There was a time when that was part of my attire for work, was wearing a tie. And so I do have a nice collection of ties.
And to your point, when I worked for corporate America, there was about 5 years in a row that we had to wear, sport coat and tie every day. In this particular case, I'm not in that arena as much. So, although I've got a lot and I've spent more today, it would be 20. Yeah.
There you go. So kind of what your needs are, your current needs can change those numbers as time goes on. And then the last one that we did for this exercise is a bottle of wine. And so, Keith, what was your number?
I look at about $50 for a good, a good bottle of wine out of California there.
Very good. Very good. And then Andy?
It looks like I'm drinking Mogan David. I'm at $20.
No, Carlo Rossi. And that actually buys you 2 gallons.
That's great. And then for me, it was 100. If for a good bottle of wine, because remember we're talking about like thresholds. I will drink $20 wine too, but yeah, that's the number I picked for my threshold.
And I picked 150 because special wines, weekly wines, monthly wines, special occasion wines. But if I really wanted to go out and blow a nice little budget for me, the top end would be 150. Yet I've spent 284 once.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll tell you what, when we do an exercise like this, if you look at these numbers here, it's pretty revealing. And this is like the takeaway you'll get with your team and your crew when you do this, because it really never fails, that you always have someone who, in one particular case, they'll spend the least amount. For example, in the exercise we did with this group right here, Andy's going to spend the least amount of money out of everybody here on a bottle. On a bottle of wine, which is $20. Okay. But however, he also is willing to spend the most amount of money on a family pet. And so right there, when we see something like that, we know it's not how much disposable income that he has available, or, how much, money he can spend. It's so the exact same person in one category will have the lowest number, and someone else in a whole nother category will have the highest. Another example, Keith will spend the least amount of money on a gym membership, but he's also willing to spend the most amount of money on dress shoes. There you go. So, and then with Carm, he's the high guy on a bottle of wine, and he's the low guy on a family pet. And so it's really not, we can't look at a customer and just start making decisions and being worried about stepping across that threshold with the customer and kind of tiptoeing around. And when you do that, you're really limiting yourself and your ability with your opportunity. And you're also, in my opinion, you're kind of, short selling the customer when they have the right to know and make the decision for themselves if they want to move forward on a repair.
It's a great exercise. I totally love the concept. And if we went out there as an industry and did this with our sales team, actually the whole entire team, because today you do a quality digital inspection, you sure don't want the technician to make those kind of decisions either.
That's right. We've all, as being a service advisor for a long time, I've been there. When I was a multi-unit operator and I'm visiting locations and I would do store audits, I'd go in there and I'd have a technician pull me to the side and go, hey, look, I'm turning in these tickets and the guy up front, they're not selling everything that I'm recommending. And so I'd go through, we'd audit a bag and we'd look at it and I'd see it right there. I'd see the technician write up. And then I look at the invoice and it's like, hey, there's something missing here. So I'd sit down with the advisor and I go, well, what's going on? Why aren't we making, here's a car right here. It's got 100,000 miles. The struts were leaking. Why didn't you recommend them as part of the maintenance inspection? And the answer that I would get oftentimes with all that customer was tapped out. They were done. Well, how do you know? Well, they told me that, they just felt like, they didn't want to spend a lot of money on this vehicle, or that, they make these comments and then the advisor starts thinking for the customer instead of letting the customer make their own decision. And then it never gets presented. It never gets documented that it's even a need on the vehicle. And that, to me, that's a disservice. Yeah.
So I guess one of the things that I'd like to know, Keith and Andy, is this isn't new to you. We've done this before. You've seen the impact this can have on your counter. Let's talk about the value of the exercise and the training that's necessary so that we're not, we're not spending their money in our mind.
I had a advisor that was giving away coupons to customers. We have coupons, and if they come in with a coupon, that's great.
So you want us some little bit of saying about that, Carm?
I'm sorry?
It looks like Keith froze up.
Oh, yeah, Keith, you may be frozen. Yeah, you're unfrozen now. Sorry, guys. Andy, keep going. What you were saying.
Oh, so I had an advisor that I observed. Somebody would come in and they didn't have a coupon. They may not even have known that we had coupons available. And so we have a coupon where they can take $100 off if they spend $850 or more. And people would come in, buy a job for maybe $1,000, and it was all sold. And then he'd whip a coupon out from under the counter and say, here, I'm going to give you $100 coupon. And, that wasn't needed. We already had the sale. So finally I took him in my office and I took $100 bill out of my wallet and I threw it on the floor. And he said, well, what's that for? I said, well, that's what you do to me every time you give a coupon away like that. And then he's like, oh, I never thought about it like that. So,
but did you ask him why he did that, Andy?
Boy, I don't think I did, and I probably should have.
I keep thinking about the empathy thing where, I know these people for a long time. I've heard some stories, they got to pay for college, and so many things impact how we feel about our customer. Mm-hmm. And of course you give them the power to have that coupon underneath the counter. It's almost like, and let me just share a thought that I had. Okay. You can give one a week out in a really tough situation where, the sale has to be made by using that, not, post. Yeah. I guess you want to help people out. Yeah. I guess you want to have a really big heart. But I guess if your heart's so big, you're bleeding somewhere else, right?
Right.
That's right. And then, and it's a lot of times shouldn't really even be optional. You know what I mean? You can't really go into a lot of business and just start negotiating prices with the person that's, selling the product.
Yeah, we took the coupons out from under the counter, and the rule is now that myself or my son, who is my general manager, has to approve the coupon. In a situation where somebody, maybe needs a little help or something. So that's what we're doing now. But we had to identify that, problem and take care of it.
Keith, do we tend to help older customers out, and it's because we want to help them out, senior citizens, Social Security? Is that a big thing here, Brian, Andy, Keith?
It seems to be to me. I'm always kind of aware of the the customer's conditions or the customer's area, and so I kind of hold back a little bit on some of those, usually taking care of most of the safety related items, and then kind of setting some of the maintenance stuff on the back burner, or some of the less, important things, I guess. And so that's kind of my problem.
As a coach and trainer, Brian, how do you, what do you teach on that?
Yeah, so when an exercise like the one we just did certainly becomes an eye opener, and some too that reflect back on when you start to feel that way, when you start to decide, want to make that decision, or decide not to share everything that the technician has found the vehicle's in need of, and so. It's kind of like, if you can imagine going to the doctor because you got, a sore throat, and while you're there, they do the things that they typically do, and they check your blood pressure. They find out you have high blood pressure. Could anybody ever imagine the doctor doesn't tell you that? They only just address your sore throat, and they just kind of leave that out, or even maybe even something worse on a blood test. And so it's just, we just have to change our thought process. We have to, of course, you got to show empathy and to the customer, and we all want to care, but that doesn't give any of us the right to give away, the shop's money at the same time, and I see that a lot. And sometimes it's the thought process for a lot of the service advisors is they're thinking to themselves, boy, this is a lot of money. And they have to just kind of push that off to the side. Think about an exercise like this. And if they do that with every customer, right, they always do that, then they're really limiting their potential. In a huge, huge way.
Hey, great stuff so far. I'm so happy we are in the position we are here in the show. We've done the exercise. Now we're talking in depth. We've got some chatter in Facebook I want to get to. But first, have you I want to talk about Shopware. Shopware wants to remind you to stop spending time chasing customers. Shopware's leading shop management systems, helping shops just like yours generate more profit per ticket with less time on the phone. Break away from your legacy system and implement a completely contactless workflow today. Go to getshopware.com/Carm. Tell them Carm sent you. Have you realized that your marketing looks exactly the same as the shop down the road? Well, your shop's different and deserves marketing that is as unique as your shop is. Let shop marketing pros show your community just how different you are on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Don't forget, if you're with us on social media, please give us some great chatter, some comments. I've seen some. I do want to kind of get to them. And I appreciate you all being here. Don't forget, we repurpose this show next Thursday as both a podcast and a video. Question. Greg Skolnick mentions here in the comments about wisdom credits for seniors. I think he was talking about seniors, or at least emotional attachment. Keith, I think you wanted to talk about sentimental value on versus the actual value to customers, and I think it really plays into this whole sell from your wallet.
It does, because we're up here in the Northwest. We have a lot of older vehicles. Everything doesn't rust out up here, so we get a lot of older vehicles in, and so we're going over them, of course, they need a lot of work. And so we're doing a lot of prioritizing. And some customers ask, is the value worth it if I go ahead and put this money in here? And then we find out, well, this vehicle has been passed down through the family so many times, or a couple generations, that the money doesn't matter. And so we kind of try to figure that out is this got big sentimental value, or is it kind of that they're looking at the actual value of the vehicle? And so sometimes we're digging through there and then I'm kind of dealing with my wallet, because there's things that just are cost prohibitive, I guess is what I would say.
I love Greg. I just put Greg's comment up here. We give wisdom credits to our retired clients. Greg, I'd love for you, if you could, in a sentence or two, explain that to us. But what it seems to me is wisdom credits would be for a silent generation or even a baby boomer customer, that they would be able to use those credits at the shop because we appreciate your seniorness in this world. And that takes the place of discounting and dropping coupons and stuff. It's a kind of a steady thing to build retention. I believe that's what Greg probably is talking about. You guys ever do something like that?
Not here. I don't keep too many coupons under the counter. They usually, it's got to be specific when they come in with a coupon. I make sure I clean those out, so once a week, so that they're not left there, just like Andy had to do.
So Brian, I have an interesting question as we're talking about seniors, and let me just bring up the chart again. Is what our thresholds are. I would imagine that every generation has different numbers here. And if you were teaching me, Brian, as a service, as a service advisor, that when a person with gray hair comes into the counter and they would have different thresholds, they've been through this training, they get it. What guidance would you give them with at least the boomer generation?
Well, I mean, I get the empathy and having sympathy and, the senior discounts and things. What I would actually recommend would be to already have it pre-established, have it, in your budget, right? There's such a thing as a senior discount that all the seniors get, or a military discount, or frontline workers, or school teachers. And then if it already exists and it's already established, then then you don't have to really think about it, because the rule's kind of already there. It's not up to just their own discretion or how they feel that day. It's like, hey, let's just follow the rules. And so I'd probably encourage Andy, if you got a soft heart like that, or you want to give those type of discounts, then just make it across the board. Everybody gets it, and it's in your budget, and you can kind of account for that. You can be prepared for that.
Keith, Andy, you had a service advisor who didn't want to do the right thing on a tire. And again, I think it goes back to the fact that he didn't want to spend what he thought was a lot of money on a brand new tire. So he'd rather do a $20 repair for the customer, which really wasn't even right.
Right.
And that gets in the way.
Yeah, it was a situation. We had I think it was a college student, and she didn't have any money, and her dad was paying the bill, and he acted like he didn't have any money. I'm not sure what the real situation was, but it was a tire that had a puncture very near the sidewall, and it's one that we never should repair that tire. And he wanted me to my service writer wanted me to make an exception on this one and patch it. And I said, you can't patch this tire. This is a safety issue. But, he was trying to put money ahead of safety, I think. And in my world, you never do that. So, and in the long run, the guy did buy a tire. So he found the money somewhere.
Amazing. How many times, Brian, Keith and Andy, do people come in and plead the poverty story? I mean, so, what percentage of that is really true, do you think?
Well, I mean, we see it. I mean, we work from the whole spectrum. We have millionaires that come in, and we have college students and people that don't have a lot of money. But we can cut corners sometimes. But if it's going to affect the safety of the vehicle, I just won't do that. Brake lines. We're near Chicago. We're in the Rust Belt. We have brake lines rusting out, and we'll get a car in. It needs all new brake lines, and they want me just to fix the one that's bad, and I won't do it because as soon as they go out, they'll blow another one.
Man, that's the right answer, Keith. If you compromise the safety of the vehicle, you're doing wrong for the customer, no matter if they say they do or they don't have money. And you're right. There's a lot of people, especially this year, that are pretty tough shape.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty tough shape. So I guess maybe more than ever, stop selling from your wallet. It may be even tough to do, Brian, because we don't want our customers to go away. They've been with us a long time, but they're done on their luck. So if, as Andy says, get them to a certain point where the vehicle is safe, and help them out.
Well, there's always options like you can prioritize for a customer, but it's never an option to not present it. And kind of what you were asking earlier, to Andy, do we buy it or not? You get these tells of woe. Hey, so honestly, I don't think you can even don't even think about that, because there's professional negotiators out there. Like it's their aim to get the best deal. They, they've got all the coupons, and so they can check out at the grocery store, and then the grocery store owes them money, right? And so there's professional negotiators, and so you really can't. You gotta really filter all of that out. Just be a professional. And I'll tell you, some of the customers that live in the biggest houses, drive the fanciest cars, they're holding on to that money tighter than you can imagine. And that they're a lot of times they want to make a deal. They want a discount. And so it's really not, when we do these exercises, it's never, if any of you shop owners out there that are listening to this, do this exercise with your team, what you're paying all your people. What you'll find out is not a measure of who's making the most money, who's got the biggest income. Everybody has a different number, and they value things differently. And so that's why I encourage the exercise. Your light bulbs go off, and it changes the thought process.
Hey guys, this has been great. Thank you. Greg Skolnick did chime in, as we're talking about the wisdom credits, and instead of a senior citizens discount, that's what it's called. And I love, Greg has some really great strategies. And Richard Danisoro, I would say it's important to give part quality options to the client and not lower your gross profit on your parts. This keeps the client in control of their money. Of course, gross profit dollars are a factor there, but you all have your certain strategies. Hey, I want to move into a really important topic next, but let's give a final high five. Shopware wants you to wow your customers while keeping your distance, and we're still in that COVID zone. Keep your distance and stay 6 feet apart. And Shopware's innovative technology will help you move cars through safely and efficiently. It's time. Completely digital workflow allows your customers to review, approve, and pay for repairs all in one place. Request a demo at getshopware.com. And are you tired of your cookie cutter website? Is it bringing you new clients? Well, let our friends at Shop Marketing Pros create a website that is as unique as your shop on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Thank you, Shop Marketing Pros and Shopware, for bringing this show each and every week to our aftermarket audience. If next week, Brian, there are thousands of exercises like this. Okay, what's your pricing threshold done in the industry?
Right.
Then shame on everybody who's watching and listening and sharing this episode. And if you've been to a seminar, you've never done this, then let this motivate you to do it.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine the power of the dialogue with your people as they understand what you're attempting to do in this exercise.
Oh, yeah.
And the next piece, Brian, that I want you to kind of hook together
Mhm.
is the power of understanding the profit and loss statement and how all of this, filters back into the success of our company.
Absolutely. Yeah. And okay, so it's a lot of things. All these things put together is going to give you more success, and that's a big one that you just mentioned, Carm. Is in our industry as service advisors, we're a little bit unique than other, say, salespeople, because we're not just presenting the repair work. We're purchasing the parts, and we're also selling the exact same parts. So we're the purchaser too. And so now we have the knowledge of what these parts actually cost. And that could be a disadvantage if somebody doesn't understand the full P&L. If you're a salesperson at Best Buy, odds are pretty good you have no idea what that 65-inch TV costs, what it costs to build it. As advisors, we have that knowledge. But all those advisors are seeing, all we see is we know what the parts cost, we know what the labor's cost, but they don't think about the rent and the landscaping and your waste disposal and your insurance and so forth. And so teaching and training your advisors about the numbers is huge, and it'll help also to get their mind off of the money, because sometimes all they think about, and I've lived it, boy, how can I take this $25 belt and then sell it for $65? And they're thinking all that money's going in the back pocket of the owner, and it's not. They're not considering all the other expenses that business has, and they have no idea because it's just not their area of expertise. And so we have to take out the time, teach them, train them, and then they'll be way better at pushing your goals and things forward and adhering to the rules that you have set in place.
Great. Thank you for that. We have a Town Hall Academy coming up in a couple of weeks, and I don't know the exact date, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's a show on where the money goes. And it's exactly this exercise is forget about sales, forget about margin. Let's all talk about once that transaction happens, what happens to the money? And without exposing too deeply your profit and loss statement, it is an exercise that opens people's eyes big time. Patrick McHugh is going to do it with me. I've done the exact exercise in my former life, and it is a powerful motivator. Please hang out for that. Keith, you told me that the goals for average work orders sometimes limits sales. Explain that to me.
Well, we always set goals that we want to, accomplish with, average work orders, stuff like that, hours per ROs and things like that. And sometimes we have service advisors that just, they just focus in on that goal. And then, and they get up to that point, and that's where their sales skills stop is, just hitting the goal that they, we set out there for them. And so, that's where I kind of look at that is, we've always got to work beyond that, but, the goal is just let's hit that. And then let's see, if we can increase it or just keep staying with our abilities there and growing them.
I would never pay X for this, and since I'm at 650 and that's what our goal is, I guess I'll just stay there, right?
I'll just stop. Yeah, and I've run into that before. Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the real world, does it, guys?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like to tell. I was going to say, I'll talk to shop owners and I'll say, all right, measure your first half of your day compared to your second half of your day. Because in the morning, everybody's kind of gung-ho. They're really focused. But what happens is I've already sold $6,000 today and it's noon. And so now it's kind of, let's kick back and coast. Well, why? Why not have that same level of focus and execution for the whole second half of your day? And that's what I think he's getting to about the whole obtaining goals and stuff, we always want to know what winning looks like and what we need as a minimum. But boy, we don't want to stop right there. We want to keep it going. We want to keep doing what we do, having high energy, giving great customer service. And so, yeah, I get that. And it does happen. I have seen that happen.
So I try to set up a little bit bigger, I guess, pay plan that would cover that this is our minimum level of acceptance. And then let's see if we can build a little bit more in order, so that they get, a little bit more of the money coming in if they continue on through that second half of the day, basically.
Yeah, beat the day, win the day, go beyond your goal. I mean, it sounds like a great incentive plan. Go beyond your goals. I mean, goals is one place and never be happy. So go beyond. And this exercise can really bring that eye opener to let's just assume with the number of service advisors on our counters among all the independents here in the U.S., 60% of them probably have no clue how this exercise could change them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's such a fun game, and it's actually, we did it virtually, and we, for time reasons, obviously we didn't spend as much, but when you get into some conversations as you're doing this and everybody's giving out their numbers live, you get the gawks and the ooh and the ah, and man, hey, you're my friend. You you'll spend a lot on a birthday gift, and it really amazes you right there during the exercise, because somebody you've been working with for 3 years, you're amazed at what they would spend on a family pet. You had no idea.
Yeah. And to your point, Brian, please don't do this like we did it. We did it to compress time. And man, I'll tell you, you are so right. In a group with your team, how powerful. Let it go. Schedule 2 hours for a meeting, and there's no right or wrong answers. Put the write it up on the Post-it notes. And have a blast. And again, the part that I love that you brought up is that we end up learning more about each other. And at the end of the day, we have to, we could all walk out of there and say, okay, did this exercise change how you think about how we serve our customers?
That's it. That is it.
Wow, this was great. I can't tell you, I appreciate this. This was a very powerful episode that I know can be referenced and listened to and watched over again. Brian Gillis, owner of UNet Results. Any final words, man?
Hey, you know what? I appreciate you having me here, Carm. Thank you, Keith and Andy, for being here with me. And I say just go out there and run this game. You'll have a great time. You won't regret it. And the light bulbs will go off with you and your team.
Andy Arndt, owner Arndt Automotive, Malta, Illinois. Anything final, Andy?
I think Brian's doing a great job with my advisors, and I've worked with Brian for several years. And when he asked me to be on the show, I said absolutely.
Cool.
I'd love it.
Your first time here, thank you. You too, Keith. Keith Knowlton, LKS Auto Repair, Bremerton, Washington. Anything final, Keith?
Just that it's always about training. We're always training, always trying to get better, and that's what we have to do as owners, is always identify the next training need for the people that work for us.
Well, guys, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it. And everyone, have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.